I recently picked up a 2011 Infiniti FX50 S, but it's in somewhat rough shape, and I've got a lot of work to do if I want to get this thing running great and kind of back to new. One of the first big projects I'm doing is the bushing for the rear differential. It is not replaceable by itself. You basically have to either buy a whole new subframe from Infiniti. I believe for the 50 with the V8 here, it's no longer available in America. You have to get it from Japan. They're not actually that expensive if you order it from Japan. I get it from Amayama. But I'm going to try my hand at doing a bushing repair using this 3M Window-Weld you see here heating up on my little radiator. So I'm going to walk you through what I'm doing, and we'll see if this works. So, the symptoms of a bad rear differential bushing is clunking upon acceleration, or in this car, I hear it a lot when I'm coming to a stop, I think when the transmission downshifts into first gear. But, you know, basically when you shift between neutral and reverse, or neutral and drive, you'll hear a clunk from the rear end, and that is the differential moving around in the mount here, or the mount in the subframe, however you want to call it. This is what we're working with here. I'll kind of go through it, but basically there are, I believe these are just empty voids on the top and the bottom, and then it is solid rubber on the sides. I believe that's how it's constructed. So I'm basically going to open up the top and bottom cavities, fill them with the 3M Window-Weld, and hope that that limits the movement enough so it no longer clunks. So let's get busy. So the first thing I tried to do was to see how much the bushing was sagging. I tried to measure things with my digital caliper, with a little ruler, and I was just trying to measure the distance. Oh great, I'm blocking the light. Basically here and up top, to see if I needed to support the diff. There's just not enough room to get either of my tools to measure up in there. So I'm just kind of playing it safe. I'm sticking a trans jack underneath the bushing, underneath the diff. And I just have a little bit of support on it. As soon as I saw it kind of lift the car up a little bit off the lift, or just move it a little bit, I stopped. So I'm at least reasonably confident that the everything is centered up in there, so when I fill the cavities with the urethane, things will hopefully be, well, centered and oriented correctly to prevent any, angle issues with the diff or anything like that. So this is what I'm doing as my first step. Alright, so as you can tell, I have removed the muffler. Not strictly necessary for this job, but it'll make it a whole lot easier. And now that I'm getting a better look at things, you may not be able to do this really properly if you don't remove the muffler. I was kind of already planning on removing the muffler for another repair project. I got to repair the flex sections on this thing, and everything was looking rusty. Anyways, all 4 studs snapped, which I was not surprised by. So that's how it goes. One thing, if you have the rear active steering on your car, you're going to want to remove this ground wire that was up here because it was directly in the way of what you're going to be doing. I had to be careful on screwing that because it was, if I had been rougher with it, it probably would have snapped off and I would have had to extract it. So anyways, back to the project. So let me see if I can actually do this while holding a camera. So, there are basically some flaps here on the bottom and the top. Can't show that very well right now with only two hands, but basically what I'm going to try to do is to use a razor blade to cut off the flaps from this side at least, so I can get a better look at the cavity behind the flaps. As you can see, if you start kind of poking around with the screwdriver, I did actually find one spot. Where was it? That seemed like it went all the way through to the front. So rather than having to poke, I'd rather just be able to see what's going on in there so I can get a better idea of where I need to squirt everything. So next up is cutting off the rubber flaps. So I'll come back then. Okay, so I got the kind of flaps off, and what this reveals are the kind of open cavities on either side. So basically, there appears to be solid bushing here on the top, and then on either side, possibly, I don't know if there is more solid bushing on the sides or if it is only on the top and bottom, but so whether or not this cavity goes all the way to the top, I don't know. So these are the things we want to fill up. We want to fill up the entire internal cavity, and probably also just make it flush all the way with this surface here. Unfortunately, there is not really any good access from the back, or I should say the front of this thing. Everything is probably going to have to be done from this side. So the next step for this stuff to actually adhere properly, it's kind of tough to see, but there is a whole lot of dusty crap in there. I can't remember if these things were fluid filled from the factory or not. But either way, we got to clean the hell out of these things, so this urethane has a chance of adhering to stuff and not just falling out or rattling loose or whatever it might do. So I'm going to use probably a whole lot of brake clean to flush these things out and try to clean them before we inject. Here we go. Well, I kind of wish I'd had the camera rolling for that, but I'm also glad I didn't. Before I sprayed it down with brake clean, I decided to blast it with my whatever air wand thing from my air compressor. And holy crap, I'm glad I was wearing a respirator and protective gear, because I'd say, I don't know, 4 tablespoons or more, like a significant amount of fine brown powder came out of there. It was so thick. So you'll definitely want to blow that out, or if you don't, get compressed air in a can or use your vacuum cleaner or something to make the job easier for the brake cleaner, because there was a lot of stuff in there. I'm guessing that's remnants of whatever that used to be filled with. Anyways, so then I used most of a can of brake clean, and just kept spraying until it seemed clean. Sprayed this whole front surface clean as well, because I think I'm going to fill that up. So just take your time, clean it out really good, so the urethane can do its job. Moving on. Well, there you have it, folks. It was really hard until I realized I just had a really old broken caulking gun, so I went out and bought a new one, and man, this makes it real easy. So just squeeze it into every crevice until it oozes out. I was trying to also squeeze it into the ones that are little, tiny little grooves at the very top and the very bottom as well. So I just filled everything with this, and in a couple days I'll take it for a drive and we'll see if it works. So until then, fingers crossed.